Here are 4 transfers that could break the FPL template. Starting off, the first player that we're going to talk about and their potential move is Hojlund. Hojlund, not quite 100% sure how you do pronounce his name, but we're going to go with Hojlund. He has a potential move in the works to move to Manchester United from Atalanta for about 70 to 100 million pounds. It would be absolutely incredible if we got this potential wonder kid in the Premier League, because not only is he going to be a fantastic player to watch, he could break FPL if he does come in at the right price point. At the moment in FPL, we're kind of really struggling for forward assets to kind of grab onto, especially in those cheaper departments. We have Kane, we have Hojlund, we have Jesus, and then after that, there aren't too many other forwards that you kind of gag into getting your team. I think if this man joined the Premier League with Manchester United's good fixtures and being their only pretty much number 9, maybe like Martial, but he's not really competition, is he? Then you've got Rashford as well, who can play up front, but they do prefer to play him out wide, which I think is his better position. So if this man did join the Premier League, he could be amazing for FPL, and I could easily see him being in a lot of people's teams, mainly down to the fact that I do think he is going to start a large majority of the games and has been impressing on the European scene. Last season, 9 goals, 2 assists, OK XG and OK XA, moved in the January window as well, so he hasn't had a full season at Atalanta yet, but it's still, you know, pretty good numbers to be putting up for a very attacking side. The obvious question marks is, how does he cope with the pressure of kind of the Manchester United syndrome, which I'm going to call it, which around players who move to United under big fees, under a lot of pressure, under constant scrutiny from the media. How does he manage with that? But for me, as an FPL asset, this man could be incredible with the good fixtures. If he comes in at a good price between 6.5, I've gone top end 7.5 million. I think that's where they'll put him. Obviously didn't score a hat full of goals at Atalanta, so I don't think they're going to put him quite at the top range, but could be an excellent asset to partner with a Rashford and a Bruno Fernandes, maybe even a Shaw, and the next player that we're going to talk about as well. Onana's move to Manchester United pretty much looks done. Fabrizio Romano said it's 99% done, so I think that pretty much means we are over the line. And here he is, ladies and gentlemen, as a potential asset for Manchester United. If he comes in at 5 million, he is going straight in my team. You save that extra 0.5 million on Luke Shaw. The fixtures are great for Manchester United as well, and this man is a quality goalkeeper who loves to play out from the back, which is massive for the bonus point system as well, because playing out from the back, making plenty of saves is kind of in the metrics of the bonus point system, which helps players boost themselves up. Obviously built a reputation as well as a kind of sweeper, playing out the back keeper. You know, there's that clip on Twitter going around where he's like stood at the halfway line. So, you know, we've got that slight potential of assists as well, as we always do with Alisson and Edison. So I think if he does come in at the 5 million range, we get into that Manchester United team. We get in there over Luke Shaw. He can then obviously pair nicely with a Rashford or a Bruno Fernandes for this good fixture run that Manchester United do have at the start of the season. Obviously the 2 appetising fixtures, as you can see on screen: game week 1 Wolves, game week 3 Nottingham Forest. For me, if he comes in at 5 million, he is going straight in my team. Is he going in your team? Let me know down in the comments section below, and let's move on to our next player. Kvaratskhelia is the next player that we are going to talk about. Probably absolutely butchered that pronunciation, but who cares, ladies and gentlemen, because I'm not going to say it again in this video. So the Georgian midfielder is being linked with a move to Newcastle United. Now for me, the reason I think he potentially could break the template is because Newcastle have been a really good side over the past 12 months, and they don't really have any kind of key standout go-to players like you do with other clubs. Even like lower down the table, you've obviously had in previous seasons people like Wilfried Zaha. These are the key players who, you know, week in, week out, they're going to be in the starting 11. They're going to be on all the set pieces. They're going to be the key men for these teams. Now Newcastle haven't really had that. We've had flashes of different players over last season. Trippier was kind of the solid safe pick, but this season I think his price kind of puts him out of a lot of people's minds. And then, obviously, going into the midfield, there isn't really anyone too attacking. Obviously, Almiron had flashes before the World Cup, but again, it was just that little bit of a purple patch. Up front, you do have Callum Wilson and Isak, but again, both of them quite injury prone, little bit of flashes. When they are firing, they are great. But this man, the Georgian midfielder, the midfield maestro, could be the key to unlocking our easy pick into that Newcastle side and into the midfield. I'm going to go with 7.5 million as a potential price range if he does move to the Premier League. I think Newcastle would really suit him as well as a club. Obviously, absolutely smashed it for Napoli last year as they went on to win the league. 12 goals, 10 assists, overperformance on both his XG and XA. Now, the fixtures aren't great for Newcastle United, which I think actually favours if this player was to move to the Premier League, purely down to the fact that I don't like to bring in players who've recently moved. I don't like new toy syndrome, we're going to call it, where you go for these players who have just recently moved. You don't know what the position they're going to be playing in. You don't know what system they're going to be playing in. But this man, for me, we get to see a couple weeks before Newcastle's fixtures turn good in game week 6. We get to see a couple weeks. What is he about? Let him embed into the team. And then he could be an absolute staple of the FPL template for me, because last season for Napoli in European football as well was absolutely killing it. He was incredible last season, so could be insane for Newcastle United as well as they look to build on their amazing season last year. I think he could be an excellent player. You let me know what you think down in the comment section below, and let's move on to the final player that we're going to talk about who could break the FPL template. Harry Kane is the final player that we're going to talk about in today's video. Now, I know what you're thinking. He already plays for a Premier League club. How can he break the template? It's by him leaving. Yep, I bet you didn't expect that one. I think if Harry Kane goes to Bayern Munich, it massively shakes up the template. I know a lot of people have Maddison in their team and people are potentially looking at Son, but if Kane goes, that could absolutely ruin Spurs' opportunity. He was their danger man last season and has been for a few seasons. Replacing goals and assists like that is not easy. Even if they get 100 mil for him, finding another player who is capable of the quality that Kane put in last season is going to be extremely difficult, and that is going to have an impact on the other players in the side. So I definitely think it limits their potential to be in the FPL template. As you can see, Kane last season, 30 goals, 9 assists, good XG and good XA, overperforming in both and overperforming in his point scoring. He was the key man for Spurs, and I do feel if he leaves for Bayern Munich, then that could leave a massive void in the Spurs attack and limiting their assets in terms of potential. I think as well, it does kind of kill the game off a little bit at the moment. Obviously, you've got Hojlund at 14 million, Kane at 12.5. A lot of people can't get Kane into the team down to his ownership at the moment of 15.5%. That price point is a real sticky point for a lot of people to get him or Salah or Hojlund in their team. It's kind of a little bit one or the other, mainly down to the fact there are so many cheap midfielders in this year's game. And I think it would be a great thing for the game if he did stay, because if he starts like he finished last season, then he could give managers a real headache. How do they get him into the team? What kind of connotations are there? Maybe like whether or not we go for him, we don't go for him. There are so many factors around debating whether or not Kane would be like worth going for, not worth going for. Like for me, he adds an extra element of spice into the game that isn't there or hasn't been there over the past year. If he is on fire and if he stays at Spurs, he could spice up this game massively. But if he leaves, I think he dampens the Spurs attack and kills a little bit of excitement in the game. Let me know what you think of that down in the comments section below. Bit controversial, but we're saying it right here, ladies and gentlemen. If you did enjoy the content that you see on the channel, please be sure to like, comment and subscribe, as I do answer every single question down in the comment section below, and we're trying to hit 1,500 subs. But that's enough waffle from me. Thank you very much for watching.